Okay, so picture this. You're applying for a loan, right? You've got good credit, a steady job, feeling pretty confident,
Mm-hmm.
and then bam, rejected.
Oh, no.
But not because of your finances, because of where you live,
Mm.
your zip code.
Mm.
It triggered like a red flag in the bank's AI system.
Wow. Yeah, that's AI bias.
Yeah, and it's happening more than you think.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of a hidden problem that affects so many areas of life, like from getting a job or even receiving healthcare.
That's exactly why we're diving deep into this world of AI bias today.
Right.
We'll explore how it happens, what the real-world impacts are, and what we can do about it.
Yeah, I've got research papers, we've got real-world examples, and we've even got some opinions from experts to kind of guide us along the way.
So buckle up, folks. It's going to be a fascinating ride. Welcome to Zana AI Talk.
Yes, welcome.
So let's just start by really understanding what AI bias is.
So AI bias is basically when a computer program makes unfair decisions against certain groups of people.
So like our loan applicant who got rejected because of their zip code, even though they had a good credit history.
Exactly. Yeah, the AI system is making decisions based on factors that really shouldn't matter, which is obviously leading to some unfair outcomes.
So how does this happen? I mean, AI is supposed to be all about logic, right?
Well, yes, but AI systems are created by humans, and humans have biases, right?
Right.
And these biases can sneak into the AI in a few different ways.
So it's kind of like a recipe. If you start with bad ingredients, you get a bad cake.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ingredients for AI are the data that it learns from.
And actually, our research shows that biased data is a huge problem.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If the data used to train an AI model is biased, the AI will learn and then repeat those biases.
And one example that really stands out to me is facial recognition technology.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There have been cases where facial recognition systems perform poorly on people with darker skin tones, and this is because the data that was used to train these systems mostly contained images of people with lighter skin.
It's as if the AI is thinking like, I've mostly seen faces like this, so these must be the right faces.
Precisely. And that's just one example. Imagine hiring algorithms that are trained on data from companies that have a history of discriminating against women in leadership roles.
So then the AI would just continue that cycle of gender bias.
Sadly, yes.
Wow.
But biased data is not the only issue.
Right.
The way algorithms are designed can also create bias.
So even with good ingredients, a bad recipe can still kind of ruin the cake.
Exactly. Some algorithms might be more sensitive to certain information than others, or maybe prioritize certain results. And this can lead to biased outcomes even with unbiased data.
And then there's the human factor, right? The people who write the code, who choose the data, and who set the goals for the AI, all of them bring their own biases.
Oh, yeah.
Conscious and unconscious.
You're absolutely right. It's a multi-layered problem. But the good news is that by understanding where these biases come from, we can develop strategies to reduce them.
So before we explore those solutions, I think it's really important to understand how widespread the impact of AI bias really is. I mean, this isn't just a theoretical issue, is it?
No, not at all. AI bias has real-world consequences in many different areas.
Yeah, we see it in hiring, criminal justice, healthcare finance, the list goes on and on.
Absolutely. Let's look at hiring. AI tools are being used to help companies find the quote-unquote best candidates. But these tools can inherit biases from their training data, which leads to discrimination against certain groups.
Now, research uncovered a case where an AI hiring tool consistently penalized resumes that included the word women's, like Women's Chess Club or captain of the women's soccer team.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of how seemingly small details can become proxies for bias.
It's not just hiring, though. Our sources also show that AI is being used in the criminal justice system for things like risk assessment and even sentencing recommendations.
And studies have shown that these systems can be biased against certain racial and socioeconomic groups, leading to harsher sentences.
And then there's healthcare, where algorithms are being used to make decisions about patient care. I mean, the potential for bias here is huge.
Yeah, imagine an AI system that was trained primarily on data from white patients. When applied to patients of color, the recommendations may not be as accurate or effective.
Yeah, that's a very worrying thought. And it seems like every industry is adopting AI these days.
It really does seem that way. We're even seeing it used in finance to make decisions about loan applications and credit scores.
Which means that if the data used to train these systems reflects existing biases in lending practices, well, those biases will just continue.
Exactly. And this isn't just about fairness either. Businesses that use biased AI actually face legal and financial risks.
Our research mentions regulations like the EU's AI Act, which aims to control harmful AI applications.
Yeah, the EU is definitely taking the lead in regulating AI, particularly for high-risk applications like the ones that are used in healthcare or law enforcement.
So businesses can't just ignore this problem.
They really can't. They need to actively address AI bias both ethically and legally.
So we've established that AI bias is a very real and widespread problem. But the big question is, what can we do about it?
Well, the good news is there are concrete steps that we can take to reduce AI bias.
And that's what we'll be exploring in the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
So we've seen how this AI bias can kind of creep into these systems.
Right.
But the good news is we're not powerless against it. There are ways to fight it.
Okay.
It's like trying to fine-tune a recipe. You want to make the perfect cake.
So what are the key ingredients then for a bias-free AI recipe?
Well, one interesting approach that our research highlighted is this concept of blind taste tests for algorithms.
Blind taste tests for algorithms.
Yeah.
That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
So it's basically about making the algorithm blind to information that could introduce bias. Like, let's say we're worried about gender bias in a hiring algorithm.
Okay.
We would hide the applicant's gender from the AI.
So we're essentially leveling the playing field then, by making the AI focus solely on skills and experience.
Exactly. Yeah, that by removing that potentially biased information, we force the algorithm to make decisions based on merit, not stereotypes.
That sounds pretty simple enough in theory. Is it really that easy in practice?
Well, it's a good first step, but it's not a complete solution. Because sometimes removing biased information can also remove important context.
So it's a balancing act then.
Oh,
You can't always just eliminate information without losing something valuable.
exactly. That's why this technique works best when it's combined with other strategies, like using diverse data.
Right, garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly.
Our research really emphasizes the need for unbiased data to create unbiased AI.
Absolutely. The more diverse the data, the better the AI can make fair and accurate decisions for a wider range of people and situations.
So it's like showing a child different types of animals.
Yeah.
They only see cats, they're going to think everything furry is a cat.
Exactly. They need to see dogs, rabbits, squirrels, the whole animal kingdom to
Yeah.
really understand the differences.
So how do we create more diverse data sets then?
Well, we need to be really mindful of who is collecting the data and how. We need to make sure that the data represents a variety of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives.
And this goes beyond just demographics like race and gender, right?
Absolutely. We also need to consider things like socioeconomic status, cultural background, geographic location, and even just different ways of thinking.
That's quite a lot to consider. It sounds like a monumental task.
It can be, but remember, we're aiming to create AI that works for everyone, not just a select few.
Okay, so we've talked about blind taste tests and diverse data. What else can we do to combat AI bias?
Well, I think strong governance frameworks are crucial.
And can you explain what that means exactly in the context of AI?
So it's about having very clear rules, policies, and procedures in place to make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly. Think of it as a set of guidelines to keep AI on the right track.
Okay, so our research mentions regular audits of AI systems. Would that be a part of the governance framework?
Absolutely. Regular audits help us identify and fix any biases that might have crept in, even unintentional ones.
So it's like getting your car regularly serviced.
Yes.
You want to catch any potential problems before they become major issues.
Exactly. And just like a good mechanic, we need a diverse team of inspectors to spot those biases.
So having diverse development teams is really important then.
Oh, it's essential. When people from different backgrounds and with different viewpoints work on these AI systems, they're much more likely to catch those subtle biases that others might miss.
It's like the old saying, two heads are better than one. But in this case, the more diverse those heads, the better.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And this isn't just limited to individual companies or organizations.
Right.
Efforts to fight AI bias aren't happening in a vacuum.
Yeah, you're right. Our sources mention a lot of talk about international cooperation and global standards.
Yeah, there's growing understanding that AI bias is a global problem that needs global solutions. Organizations like NIST in the US and the European Union are working to establish standards and regulations for ethical and responsible AI development.
It's like tackling climate change. It
Yeah.
requires a global effort to really make a difference.
Exactly. And these international efforts, thankfully, are gaining momentum.
That's encouraging. But even with all of these safeguards in place, we still need to consider the human element, right?
Yes, definitely.
Because after all, AI is a tool made by humans.
That's a really key point. And it leads to a pretty interesting question. Can AI ever be truly unbiased? Or will it always kind of reflect the biases of its creators?
It's a bit of a chicken and egg situation, isn't it?
It really is, and there's no easy answer. Some people believe that AI, if done right, can be more impartial than humans because it can be designed to ignore irrelevant factors that we humans get kind of hung up on.
But then others worry that AI could just amplify our biases on a massive scale.
Exactly, and that's why I think human oversight is so important.
So even in a world where AI is making more and more decisions, we can't just let the algorithms run wild.
Absolutely. We need to be actively involved in setting the goals for AI, monitoring its performance, and making sure that it's used for the benefit of society.
It's a delicate balance then. We need to harness the power of AI while ensuring it's used ethically and responsibly.
You said it perfectly. And this brings us to a really important question for our listeners.
Okay.
What role do you think human oversight should play in this AI-driven world?
That's something to ponder, for sure.
We'll be back shortly to wrap up and share some key takeaways from our deep dive into AI bias. Welcome back to Zana AI Talk. We've been on this crazy journey exploring the world of AI bias.
Yeah, it's been quite the deep dive.
It has. And we've uncovered some really important insights about how this hidden problem affects our lives.
Absolutely.
So let's recap what we've learned. First, we saw that AI bias is a very real issue. It stems from the data, the algorithms, and yes, human biases.
Right. AI learns from us. So that means it can inherit our good and bad qualities.
We also explored the impact of AI bias in all these different areas, like hiring, finance, criminal justice, healthcare. The consequences are real,
Yeah.
and they can be quite serious.
And as AI becomes more integrated into our lives, the potential for harm only increases.
Right. So it's crucial that we address this problem.
It's not all doom and gloom. We talked about some very promising solutions, like blind taste tests for algorithms to eliminate biased variables.
Yeah, and we can't forget the importance of diverse data to create fairer, more accurate systems.
Then, of course, building diverse development teams.
Yes.
Establishing strong governance frameworks and holding ourselves accountable for the AI we create.
It's a team effort. We all need to play our part in shaping an ethical and equitable AI future.
So what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember from this whole deep dive?
Well, AI bias is a challenge, but it's not unbeatable. By understanding its roots, by using data carefully, and by promoting diversity and responsibility in AI development, we can create technology that benefits everyone.
Well said. And to our amazing Zana AI Talk community, we encourage you to delve deeper into the resources we've provided. Keep this conversation going, and most importantly, ask yourselves, what role can you play in shaping a more ethical and inclusive AI world?
And don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. We love hearing from you.
Your engagement makes Zana AI Talk a lively hub for all things AI. So until next time.